Sorry for the whispering, but maybe we can just act like this is supposed to be ASMR or something. I'm at my mom's house right now, and she has a home business, so I'm trying not to be too loud. But the reason why I'm here is because I accidentally left my key on the key fob when I dropped off my car at the mechanic. And then I had her drive me home, and I realized that I could not get into my house. So I'm locked out now, but it'll be okay soon. But for now, I'm bored, so I'm going to make this. So I'm down here in the basement, and I see this piece of art that my mom has that I made for her, and it made me want to talk about it. This was the only thing I made for an entire year, which actually that sounds confusing. It didn't take me a year to make this. I had a full year where I was off of my ADD meds, and I also was dealing with a chronic illness that meant I basically was like in pain all the time, and I had to stay in bed basically all the time, or at least like I didn't have to, but like I couldn't do anything else. And during that time I was also like very, very depressed. So my mom bought these stickers off of Amazon in packs of like 500. So she just had an insane amount of stickers, which is very my mom. I realize that I kind of have to explain that context because, you know, I know her, but other people don't. But buying like a very, very cheap version of something like in bulk, and then getting so excited about what a great deal it is, and also these stickers, like these little like cutesy little super positive kind of hippie affirmations and sayings, and like she loves stuff like that. She's had journals and folders and things that she would just keep completely for herself, like in the same way that I keep little things that are important to me in my journals. But it would be, just a journal that's full of like inspiring quotes. I know this really well because she passed that on to me. Both like she passed on that tendency to me, like I inherited that from her. But I guess what I actually really meant was that I got a journal of hers that she gave to me that was from when she was like a teenager, I think, maybe a college student. And it was like a very treasured possession for me, and always has been. Like I still have it in my keepsake box. And it's on this like pink lined paper that's kind of faded and aged, so it's more like a peach color. And then she used the same pen for the whole journal, which is kind of amazing to me because I could never do that. And it's this like bright pink gel pen, so whenever I see paper that is, that peach color with her handwriting and the pink gel pen, I always think that that's, or I always am like, oh, that's my mom's. Because I gotta also explain the context, I guess, that I have a big box of my, like, scraps of paper that have my writing. I'll explain all this at some point. That's, like, a big thing that is part of my personality. Like, when, let's just explain it this way. Like, whenever I get that, like, roll call question or, like, icebreaker question that is so dreaded, that's like, tell us something interesting about you, that's usually what I'll say, is that I have this big box of papers and scraps of just little things that I find and like pictures from magazines was like pointing out things that people didn't notice before, but then they start to notice it because I said something, and then it starts to bug them, and then they can't like not notice it. I guess right now I'm talking about that in terms of things about me that I think are strange or annoying. But I'm realizing now as I say this that could also apply to trying to watch a movie with me, or a TV show or anything, because I do feel like I'm one of those people that ruins that kind of experience quite a bit by pointing things out that maybe they were totally fine not seeing, or like they didn't need to be aware of it, especially if that's gonna like lessen their enjoyment of whatever it is we're watching. Like, okay, maybe this is how I can segue back to my mom. She had a giant like streak or glitch, I don't know, it was like a big dead pixel kind of line in her screen on the main TV where she like watches everything, and she didn't notice that for like months and months, and I even thought to myself, like, I don't want to point that out to her because then she's gonna see it, and she didn't see it before. And then a while later my little brother comes over and like he points it out, and it was just funny to me how then she was totally like, oh my god, I didn't ever see that before. Which is fine. I think he was trying to be helpful. I mean, like, obviously I had the urge to tell her too. But anyways, so my mom had all of these stickers that she got off of Amazon in packs of like 500, and she loves this kind of stuff, like all of the inspiring little cute sayings and like happy, positive thoughts and pictures and stuff. So she had like way too much of this stuff and didn't really know what she was going to put all of these stickers on. So she got the idea to have me make like a little collage out of all of the stickers. And she had a nice big frame that I painted the frame to be like the funky colors, as she calls them, that she wanted it to be like a funkier colored frame. But we decided that I could make like a sticker collage on just the glass of this big frame that she had. So that became a little project for me that it took me about a week. It was kind of time consuming. But the reason that I'm saying all of this is because during that time, that was shit. Okay, why am I saying this? No, so I'm just down here in the basement and I'm looking at it, and it just kind of made me like happy. Obviously, like that's so kind of like trite for me to say. I was looking at this and it made me happy, because it's like that's so obviously the point. It would be like kind of hard not to, because it's just like so in your face with all of the happy, like positive stuff. But anyways, the reason that it made me happy is because I realized that I'm kind of fond of this as like a piece of art that I've made, and the reason for that is just not because I think it like looks good, or or is anything remotely similar to the kind of art that I would just normally make on my own, but I'm realizing that I am kind of fond of it. Because of what it represents to me, I guess. seriously or like say that really was a piece of art, because it's just normally like not what I would consider art, like especially not like the art that I would, that I would want to make normally. But I think that it has now taken on this meaning to me that I really appreciate, because it's like symbolic or representative of the idea that I can do these things. Well, it's representative of hope, I guess. I know that sounds like super cheesy, but it's just being able to see that even when I was at my lowest and that I was feeling the very weakest, like I was still capable of making at least something, at least one thing. Because even like one thing, that's not a lot, obviously. I mean, it's like pathetically little, but it is a huge, huge difference between one thing and nothing. Because one thing is something, and then nothing is nothing. It's a real like black and white, like binary kind of thing. So something is at least something. And so it's nice to be able to see this and be reminded of that. Well, I don't know. That was like the real like deep personal. But if I were to continue with this, like trying to give my artist statement here about this piece, I am also right now thinking about the fact that like it is kind of interesting, just the contrast between the appearance of this like brightly colored frame, with all of these like super maximalist, super bright and cheery and in your face stickers, where it's just like kind of overwhelming how much there is, because I mean, obviously like you can just look at it and see that it's overwhelming. You're just kind of bombarded with all of these little positive messages. So it is like somewhat interesting to me that if I were to imagine this like in a fancy modern art museum or something, like you would look at it and not necessarily know how vastly it differs from like what the artist, I guess, was feeling at the time. So there's that contrast there between the appearance of it and the artist's intention. Well, intention is not what I mean. Intention is kind of a separate subject. But what I was feeling, because obviously I was not feeling the way that this art looks, or the way that these stickers kind of come together. Well, I mean, I told you guys, like, I was not in a good place. And so it's kind of, God, this is gonna be even more annoying, but you know how, like, some artists have their main like vibe of her character, but it's these specific little details of like the way that she was just like way too mature for her own good, but at the same time like kind of not mature at all, and naive. I don't know, but like the blue period thing, like that just really made me laugh, because that totally made me think of something that I would do as a kid. And I guess now, because I'm literally sitting here being like, this is from my blue period. But that was the whole joke I was trying to get to, was that it's really funny to me to think of this being a piece of art from an artist's blue period, and it looks like this. Just like the opposite of what you would expect. So I like that. This ended up being the longest recording I've done so far, which was not my intention, but that's okay. Something else that was interesting to me about this process, now looking back on it, was that it was kind of cool to see, like, I put down one sticker, and then I have to try to fill in the gaps, or like to fit it to the edges of the stickers that are currently there, like as closely as I could. So it was a lot of me just, because my mom she really didn't want them to overlap. She wanted it to still be readable, because she thought that it would have been like a waste of a good sticker if you couldn't read it, which I get that, but it's also like all of these stickers are quotes, or at least most of them. I tried to kind of have a nice balance of all of the places where there's like a lot of word stickers, of like the little sayings, with also like a good mix of the pictures, or the stickers that had pictures on them instead of words. Anyways, it was cool for me to like place a sticker down and then have to kind of like make it grow from like the outward edges, or like the borders of it. The edges like kept growing and growing, until eventually the whole frame was filled up, and that was kind of like a cool process to see. I didn't start taking time-lapse recordings of anything that I make until I started using Procreate, and obviously like now that the time-lapse footage of me making art has become a lot of the content that I post on here. So it's definitely really changed my perspective about, it's just, that didn't used to be something that I would think about, but now I'm like always thinking about like what the time-lapse footage of that piece looks like, because I always think that's really interesting to see like what it started as, and then kind of how it kept changing until eventually it became like the final piece. Okay, I had to take a phone call because my husband was calling, because he's gonna pick me up from my mom's house. And now the AC turned on, so I'm sorry that you can hear that. But I wanted to add real quickly, because I just thought of this. But if I were trying to give, you know, like the pseudo-intellectual, like artist statement version of like me describing this piece, I just realized that definitely something that is also important about it to me is that I don't think my mom even realized it at the time, and I definitely didn't realize it at the time, but this piece is also such an expression of her love for me. So you could say that's like a theme of motherly love, or like a mother-daughter connection, but I would say it's also more broadly, it's like any time that you care about someone and you see that they're hurting, and you just want so badly to take that hurt away from them. So you feel like you just want to like shake them sometimes. Like you wish you could force it into them if possible, but it's just not possible to do that. And, so you feel like you're just like screaming at them, like you are loved and you are important and valuable and your life is meaningful and life is good and beautiful. But the depressed person cannot see that no matter what you say to them, because unfortunately that is just kind of the way that it is. As someone that was depressed during that time, it is not something that you can just change with like a certain cute little saying. There's nothing that you can. Well, that sounds hopeless. It's not that there's nothing you can do. I'm trying to say like the opposite of that. Like there is hope. You are going to be able to get through this. But, oh fuck. Shit, sorry guys. I don't know what I'm not very good at just speaking without a script. I'm trying to get better at it. But I am weirdly noticing that I think I actually enjoy that better when I'm doing this little whisper voice, where it feels more like I'm allowed to kind of wander off or not be able to think of a word for a second, because I'm thinking that it's kind of ASMR sounding no matter what I say, and I think that's just from watching ASMR. I am starting to, I know the flow of how they speak, and I find that flow is easier to match when I'm trying to talk about something, because, anyways, so what I was going to say, this is the other reason why I can't just record things without making a script for myself, and why I'm really bad at talking on camera, because I lose my train of thought so easily, and I do not get to the point that I initially wanted to make, so it ends up just being like this long rambling thing, and I don't know how to make it not that, so I'm sorry. But anyways, so, what I was gonna say, damn it, and I thought this was a good point, and now I totally ruined it, but let's see if I can save it. So, what I was gonna say is that I think that, like, this is also a piece of, sort of representing, I think this piece also represents the theme of when somebody you love is really going through the shit, like they're just really going through the worst time in their life, and you are trying so desperately to make them happy or to like take the pain away from them, and often that can take the form of being kind of unhelpful in how like cheery and positive you're trying to be. Like, I wouldn't say toxic positivity, because it really does come from like an incredibly loving, pure place, but it's just not what the depressed person wants to hear. And so the idea that my mom basically like commissioned me, like she didn't pay me for it, it was kind of like, it was just a little project for me to do, and I wanted to do it because I like making things that make people happy, and I thought that she would like it. But anyways, it was my mom's idea, basically, is what I'm saying. So she like presented me with this project that requires me to just meticulously position and also stare at, and obviously, therefore also read over and over all of just like the most positive things that I could possibly see, to the point of being like way over the top. But that's just really funny to me now that I think about it, because like she was obviously trying to make me, to cheer me up, and to like teach me to see things positively, and this was such a like weird way to do it, but also just the most on the nose and like over the top way to do it. But I think that's actually really sweet, and it makes me like now really like this piece even more, because it makes me think of like how much she wanted to take my pain away and make me feel happy about just life and myself, and it's really beautiful that my mom like has that effect on everyone that she's around. My mom is kind of like Ted Lasso, for those of you who are familiar with that show. It's just, she's one of those people that really does, make everyone feel kindness and then want to, like, be kinder themselves. And I really admire that. But anyways, it's just funny that this is very, very her. Again, I don't think it was on purpose, but it's very her. That, so now I had to read all of these little quotes on these stickers, which, by the way, sorry, I'm getting distracted again, but I'm glad that this video that happened to be like a whispery video is also a video where I get to talk about stickers a lot, because obviously I think that stickers Oh, Jesus Christ. This is why first of all, why I shouldn't do ASMR, or maybe why I should. Let me know in the comments. I'm just kidding. Unless, no. But, frick, I don't know. Stick. Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that I would get distracted way too much and end up just saying the same word because I like the way it sounds. Like stickers. Anyways, this became something I did not expect, so I'm sorry about that. Or maybe not sorry.